We stayed at home until the last minute, until it hit the house, and we were lying on the bed and we were not thrown together with the bed.
We saw this burning 16-story building. We saw the military who came here to punish us three. We saw the military who were driving in a car and shooting at them, and they were on fire. It was so scary.
On March 6th, I ran away from here. On March 7th, the house started to burn. It was shaking like leaves from a tree.
Eight, 11, 13. On average, is this number of missiles that hit each house in Northern Saltivka. Saltivka is an area in the north of Kharkiv. It is also called the city within a city because in terms of population, pre-war Saltivka was almost equal to peacetime Mariupol, about 400,000 inhabitants. From the first moments of Russia's invasion of Ukraine on the morning of February 24, 2022, the northern districts of Saltivka become the front line of Kharkiv's defense. The area that had been inhabited by Kharkiv residents for more than 30 years died out in a few weeks. We had 9 hits to our house. We have become homeless. We have nowhere to live. The whole neighborhood is there, thought Saltivka. It's impossible there. We are homeless now. We are beggars. Every house is destroyed, every house. Our walls are black. Everything is black. Everything is covered in fungus. There are a lot of mice. There is this fungus growing at the entrance to the building. The proximity to the Russian border, the common language, and the idea of the unity of peoples instilled over the years lulled the vigilance of Kharkiv residents. The majority of the population ignored foreign analysts' predictions of a possible attack. There was no pre-war panic. In other words, already under fire from Russian artillery, local residents refused to believe in the reality of this insidious war. Tetyana was among them.
I came from work and asked my mother, who was 70 years old, if this war going to happen. She said, "It can't be. How can it be? We are all sane people. How can it come to this?" And then in the morning, at 4 o'clock, she came and said, "Tanya, the war has started." It can't be. It's thunder. No, Tanya, it's not thunder. It's a war that has begun. Northern Saltivka, the ring roared. Russia is very close. Do you understand all this perfectly well? We took the blow on ourselves.
The destroyed houses tried to protect their owners to the last. People lived in these basements for days, weeks, and sometimes even months, only periodically leaving these walls in search of food and water.
It was very difficult to cook, because as soon as you turn on the gas, the shelling starts, and it was very scary that nothing would explode. You immediately run to turn it off. That is, that pot of soup in the early days could take half a day to cook, because the shelling was permanent.
Tetyana, her mother, and a small puppy were hiding in the hallway and bathroom. It was February, there was no heating, the temperature in the rooms was +3.
You know, it was scary, because the air duct. When the airplane was flying, you could hear it flying somewhere and carrying something. It would fly over. You would come out and think, is everything intact or not? Who survived? Our puppy had a deer pair here, and it was flying all over the corridor. The wine was all over the house. It was very scary. So scary you can't even imagine. You just have to experience it.
Mrs. Olena walks through a broken, ruined apartment. For more than 30 years, her family lived here. Her sons grow up here. You listen with understanding to the woman's grateful reflections that her mother, little granddaughter, her husband, and youngest son who had a heart condition did not live to see this war, did not feel all its horror.
I'll tell you, if I hadn't left, I would have been killed in that apartment. I was in this room, my son's room, lying on this bed. With a prayer, with a book. I think they were protecting me. You see, the debris was flying all over the apartment. It would have killed me. Fortunately, I survived.
Devastation, burning, death, and destroyed human destinies are the traces left by Russian shelling.
The day of March 16th was sunny, and my matchmaker went to Rost, a supermarket, because there was nothing to feed the cat, and the water was hard to supply. She was already coming home. She called her son, "Come out and meet me," because it's the 5th floor. She took a tank of water. She was so happy. And at that time, it just exploded. And she got hit by the debris. She lay there and said, "I want to live, but I'm dying." The bombing is terrible, and you stand there like a zombie. Everything explodes, everything is on fire. Debris is falling. And we are standing there. It's a shock. He's lying there holding her. And we are standing there. The ambulance arrived in half an hour and took her away. But my son-in-law came out immediately and said, "That's it."
In the summer of 2022, as soon as the military and rescuers gave permission, the residents of Northern Saltivka began to return home. The condition of their homes shocked people. Most of these people do not have enough money for food and household items, as they spend most of their income on rent.
You think about how to survive. It's not time for a vacation anymore. And no time for the holy days at sea. Now you think about how to survive. There is nothing to live for, literally.
According to experts, more than 500 buildings in Kharkiv have significant damage. About 50 of them will be demolished. Most of the destroyed high-rise buildings are located in Northern Saltivka. Hundreds of apartments have burned to the ground. But even the housing that looks intact is mostly uninhabitable.
There is a roof over my apartment, and it does not flood. And where there is no roof, it is already flooding and fungus has started to grow. And my floor is rotten. Everything is rotten. We removed everything. This will be the shrinkage of the house. These are ruined rooms. And when they start connecting all the communications, it will all leak. Because the house is cracked. I think there will be no life here.
What have you freed us from, dear Russian brother? What have you freed us from? Me, my relatives? Go away. Go while you still can. And take your damned souvenirs with you. It's set.